Friends, welcome back! Today is gonna be a little bit more of a philosophical video, and you chose in Discord that this is the topic of the video we're gonna talk about. And also, yes, the mommy video will come in the next few days as well. And one last reminder before we start, tomorrow is gonna be the first Hollow Knight stream over on the React channel. You can find it in the description. Oh yeah! Okay, let's go. So what do I want to talk about? Obviously, it's a very clickbaity title, but I don't think it's wrong or exaggerated at all, saying that without this one specific thing, I probably would not be alive. And you could think many different things that could be it, right? I could say maybe it would be the medicine I got as a child to even grow out all the growth hormones, right? Maybe it's the HRT. But it's actually none of those. It's like more in a like philosophical way. I told you this video is gonna be philosophical, right? Because I had this thought recently and I wanted to talk about it, where what would have happened if I, for example, was born in a different country, in a different place, in a different time frame, maybe like 5 years earlier, 5 years later. Like that makes such a difference, right? I believe, without having to like edge you along further here, that without stuff like gaming and anime and looking forward to these kind of like things, I probably would not have made it to like 32 or whatever, right? So let me introduce you how I even got introduced to these things myself, right? So the first thing was anime. One of my older sisters, I have two older sisters, by the way, one I'm living with, the other one I'm not living with, right? And one of my older sisters, back when I was a little weird, shy little gremlin, right? I was like maybe 3 or 4. She was like watching anime with me on like television. Stuff like Sailor Moon, stuff like Doremi, like all the kinds of like anime that were like on like TV in the 90s in Germany. And if you are German as well, and maybe were born in the 90s or the early 2000s, you would know that like we had a lot of good anime, right? And the German dubs and the German like theme songs about like friendship and hanging on there and stuff like that were actually really, really good, okay? So she introduced me to that. And then on like my 6th birthday, or like rather when I was 6 on Easter that year, my other sister, the one I'm living with right now, basically gifted me her Super Nintendo back in the day. And that was like my first introduction to like gaming. I'm pretty sure I must have played some kind of gaming even with friends a little bit before that or something, but that was like my first own console. And I so remember playing stuff like Super Mario World, Street Fighter 2, and all those like kind of games, especially the RPGs I had on there were Secret of Mana, which was freaking amazing. I had Lufia. I never owned it. I had it from a friend, so I never finished the game actually. There was also, I think the game is called Terra Enigma. Is it called that? I think so. I only played a little bit of that as well, but like all these kinds of games, right? Basically from that moment onward, my path was set. I was a gamer girl, and I was hard into anime and like nerdy stuff, right? And my parents allowed that, which is like, oh my god, thank you. So I watched like so much anime, and I think like it really shaped me right who I am, because how could it not, right? It really, the things you surround yourself with, the people, but also like the media, right? The stuff you watch, especially in such a young age, can shape you how you turn out to be, right? And it maybe sounds like super corny that like, oh my god, I got my values from like anime about friendship and stuff like that. But like I think that's valid, okay? And I am a person where in my entire life I didn't really have like that big of a friend group. Obviously, I think this goes for most people, that while you are still in school, you have a variety of friends or people at least that you know that you can go over to play with and stuff like that, right? But really, I had like one best friend, which to this day is one of my best friends and stuff like that, right? And then like I had like other people that I knew between like the different ages, but really, I would not be an exaggeration to say that I never really had like more than 5 friends at once, okay? And that is like something that never really bothered me, if I'm completely honest, right? Of course, you could say like as human beings, we kind of need like these connections. And I don't know how a person like me, for example, would react if I suddenly was like the last human on Earth and there were like no other humans, right? We have like all these experiments, like when people get put into stuff like solitary confinement, that they break pretty easily, right? I wouldn't know like how fast that would happen to me, but I do believe that I am pretty low on the needs of like social contacts. And that is actually, like, I'm not sure. We're going to talk about it in a moment. And that is like, I have like a lot of like quote unquote parasocial relationships with anime characters and gaming characters. Don't laugh at me, okay? We're getting to all of that, right? But also, basically from the moment on that the internet existed and the internet came into my life, I had like so many friendships and contacts on the internet to this day with people I know. I have like one good friend from the Netherlands and stuff like that, right? So that's really cool. And obviously nowadays, I have you, right? My little cutie patooties, which I can talk to. Some of you are in the Discord, some of you write comments, some of you just watch, and that's cool as well, right? And that is a form of like social contact. And I don't think our like little monkey ape brains are like smart enough really to like differentiate between like you random people out there like watching and commenting something, or like your best friend sending you like a message on like your phone, right? I don't think our brains are actually smart enough to do that, which is like why this whole concept of like parasocial relationships even exists. And for some people, it can be very bad. For others, it can help them. Like there's like all these stories out there. I say all these stories. I don't know how many there are, right? But there are people out there who have currently like a chatbot, like ChatGPT is like the best friend, or just like a therapist, or like just someone they can talk to, right? And that kind of works because, again, our brain is kind of stupid. Our brain doesn't really realize that there's no real person there, there's no real connection there, that's a machine, but it can help people. Of course, you shouldn't like solely rely on that, if you get what I mean. Just throwing this in here. But I told you this is a very philosophical video, okay? So that is that. But yeah, so then let's go cycle back to the beginning with the whole title of the video. I talked about this a few times on the channel already. Never really as what's the word? What is the word? Never really expressively or whatever, explicitly. Maybe that's the word, about the fact that I had like phases of like multiple years where I was like, yeah, I wouldn't really mind if I wouldn't like wake up tomorrow, but like at the same time, I wouldn't do anything to me. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, YouTube? So, but like in those times, I always was like, oh my god, the next E3 is coming, the next like Summer Games Fest is coming, the next Xenoblade game is coming out, the next Super Smash Bros. Game is out. Oh my god, they just announced like Cloud from Final Fantasy VII for Super Smash Bros. That's hype as fuck. There's like the new Power XL thing coming out, a new World of Warcraft expansion, a new character for this thing, a new season of anime that I really like. Oh my god, Dragon Ball Super is out. That's like so cool. And I don't know if anyone can relate with this, right? But like there's like some people out there who like plan these like elaborate trips with like family and friends, and I don't know, they go to Spain. I don't know why Spain, but they go to Spain, or like to Paris or something, or to Disneyland. And for me, those like things that I was looking forward to always was like either game related, anime related, or some kind of like nerdy thing related, right? Maybe it was oh my god, do you know how hyped I was for Game of Thrones? Listen, I started watching Game of Thrones when 3 seasons were already out. And from that moment on until the end, I was watching the episode of Game of Thrones the second it came out. It was like so bad. Like, if you have not been like on the internet, on Reddit, by the time like season 4, season 5 of Game of Thrones was airing live, you had like no chance to avoid spoilers. The show was so hyped, you cannot compare it with anything else really, right? So what I would do is on the days that the Game of Thrones episode would release, I would literally wake up at like 3 a.m. in the morning. I would watch the Game of Thrones episode and then afterwards go to work or / school, right? Because then I could like safely browse Reddit and the internet and Twitter and stuff like that, because I wouldn't be able to get spoiled because I watched the episode already. That's how crazy it was, right? So I was very looking forward to like whenever new thing would come out. And I had this for like a long time. The one thing, again, as corny as the sound, that kept me going, the one thing that motivated me in life was anime and gaming. It's like, oh my god, I need to see what's coming out. I need to see Guild Wars 3. It's not out yet. They didn't even announce it, but I want to see Guild Wars 3. I want to see the Riot MMO, right? And of course, like nowadays, it has gotten better. And again, to like slowly come to a close here. This whole feeling did get obviously way better once I realized that maybe one of the underlying things that was like nagging on me like all this time was like, oh my god, you're actually trans and you're a girl, and maybe you should do something about that. So that got like way better after I realized that. It got way better after I got HRT and stuff like that. But like even like without gaming, without anime, without these things being introduced to my life, without like the insane opening songs in German from early anime, I probably would have never even made it to the point of realizing I'm trans, to the point of where I'm getting like HRT and stuff like that. So that's something I had to think about. I know, shy thinking, not that smart, okay? It's actually like, oh my god, every time I have a think, it's not that good, okay? You need to run away because there's gonna be truth bombs and gonna be bop, 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 or something, I don't know. This like, was this too much of a depressing video? I don't actually think so. I think, again, it's like a discussion video, right? I hope you still enjoyed it. I hope you still had fun with this video. I did. And I really wanted to talk about it. And do let me know if you can relate. And do let me know if you have any of those like things that motivate you to just give it another day, another week, another year. And yeah. And I will see you either tomorrow, again, on the Hollow Knight stream, which is going to be on Twitch or on the other YouTube channel. It's both down below in the frickin' or I will see you in like 2 or 3 days on this channel when we do the mommy video. Yes, it's a real video. It's gonna come out. Bye!